Okay, good afternoon. It's 4:30 and I'm calling the Finance Committee for November 6, 2024. Let the roll call reflect that Member Salner is absent. We do have a quorum. So on to the consent agenda. Item 2, approval of the minutes, October 9th, regular meeting, and recommendation of the bills. We have no transfers. Is there a motion for those two action? Motion by Roseman Mendoza, second. Mr. Rogal. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Consent agenda passes. On to item 3, appearance by members of the public, county employees. Are there any members here to speak?
We've had no requests this evening.
Thank you. Departmental matters, item 4A. We have with us Mark Bounds from the county clerk, brings an action item, and that is 4A, 1A, request approval of an addendum of contract with COTT Systems for online indexing service. I would entertain a motion. Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second by Member Rogal. Mr. Bounds, the floor is yours. Thank you.
So inheriting the management position in 2014, we had underwent what we thought was a complete digitization of our record set. At which point in time, a little bit later, we found out that there was a series of about 93 volumes where the original books were kind of nowhere to be found. We did have them on microfiche. Some of those microfiche slides were heavily used by the public, missing, misindexed. I was able to communicate with a gentleman at the Illinois State Archives who was able to get me into the vault and find out that we've got a complete set on 35 millimeter film. So it was a great find. Also reduced the cost of the project nearly in half if we were to have the microfiche that we did have digitized. So moving forward with this is just going to add a complete data set to our library.
Any questions from committee? Okay, thank you. I have none. Seeing that, item 4A, request approval of an addendum of contract with COTT Systems for online indexing service. Signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Action item passes. Item 4A2, any reports from the clerk's office?
Just the normal reports, monthly.
Microphone, Mark.
Microphone, please, Mark. Just our regular monthly reports for recording.
Any questions for Mr. Bounds? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I know you've had a very busy week.
It went smooth, so I'm happy for that.
Good, yeah, yes. Okay, on to item 4B. We have Mr. Timothy Jorzak, Supervisor Assessment. He has no action items, but he is here, and I'll turn the floor over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Turn your attention to the report that I submitted. Nothing major in terms of updates other than to say all of our townships have officially published. The last batch went out on October 16th. That's City of Bloomington, Bloomington, Old Town, and Downs all went out on that date. Their deadline will run on November 15th, which is next Friday. We are happy to report that our postcard initiative was successful. We did end up, we can see there in a report, we did end up saving a little over $17,000 in postage and printing costs. It was the first year that we're doing it, so there were obviously some little hiccups that we worked out, nothing major, nothing that caused us any problems. And we're excited to move on for next year and see how much more savings we can leverage. You turn to the second page, you can see the final list of factors that went out to the townships. You can see that the mean and the the median and the average were about a factor of 10.5% across the county. Not oddly enough, that different from what the factors were last year. Or I shouldn't say what the factors were last year, but from what our high factors were last year, we just had more townships at that high number of 10 to 11%. And you can see the complaint count there on the second column. I would note that especially the COBT number will change as the deadline approaches on Friday. We usually get slammed at the deadline, as you can probably imagine. So that 156 number is probably going to increase somewhat between now and then. The only other thing I wanted to bring to your attention was we did schedule one final taxpayer open house meeting for folks to come out and learn about the assessment complaint process. That will be on Thursday in this room at 6:30 p.m. I encourage you to, if you have anybody who has any questions, if you have friends, neighbors, relatives, other property owners who are concerned or have interest in what the property tax appeal process is, we are happy to have them out. My colleague, Rebecca McNeil, will be here, and we will do our best to answer the questions and get people turned in the right direction. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions from committee? Thank you. I have a couple. Oh, go ahead. Sure.
Not so much a question, but a comment. Just want to say thank you very much to you both. I know this wasn't a planned session, the one that's planned on Thursday, but do definitely appreciate that you all went ahead and threw in an additional one since the Bloomington numbers came in late. I know it's kind of outside of what plan was, and I know you're spending extra hours to be able to make it happen. So I know the community appreciates it, and I certainly do as well. Thank you.
You took my line of thunder. Yes, I encourage the public, if they do have complaints, and I understand this is normal, Thursday, November 7th, 6:30 here at County Board meeting.
And if I may add, it's also going to be, thanks to Dan and the social team, is going to be broadcast. It's going to be recorded. We'll have it available on the county's website, and it will be live streamed. So we have plenty of opportunities for folks to tune in.
Yes. And I also, that postcard, that grabs your attention. So, some of that stuff you cast off to the side, or I do, and I'm like, whoa, this is kind of neat. Very colorful, very eye-catching.
Well, and again, I got to thank admin for that one. The team upstairs actually did the design work on that. I wish I could take credit for it because it's really, like you said, it's visually striking.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you, Mr. Jorzak. On to the next item, 4C. We have our county treasurer, Becky McNeil, who brings a couple action items, those being 4C 1A, request approval of a resolution authorizing the county board chair to execute deeds of conveyance, and I would entertain a motion. Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second by Roseman Mendoza. Ms. McNeil, you have the floor. Thank you.
This is just one of our standard conveyances. This item has actually been in our portfolio since we acquired deed for about 22 years. It went to tax sale in 1999 when I first started, so 25 years ago. But, and the name is correct according to the trustee's office. This is how they entered their name, Rose Jalon John Rose. That was how they filled it out, so I double checked on that. But happy to see this roll off of our portfolio, and hopefully it'll go back into good hands.
Any questions, comments? 4C1A, request approval of a resolution authorizing the county board chair to execute a deed of conveyance. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Very good, that action item passed. On to the next item, 4C1B, request approval to pay postage invoices from PIP Printing, and I'd entertain a motion from committee. Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second by Rogal. Floor is again yours.
This is an item that we did not have the auditor's approval to pay, but we went ahead and issued payment due to the emergency nature of it. And since we did not receive approval to pay it, I'm bringing it forward to the committee so that I can have approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Comments? 4C1B, request approval to pay postage invoices from PIP Printing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Action item passes. Last action item is 4C1C, accept and place on file the county treasurer's monthly financial report, which were distributed. I would entertain a motion from committee. Motion by Rogel, seconded by Vice Chair Lehman. Floor is again yours, Ms. McNeil.
Thank you. In looking at our October revenue sources from the state of Illinois, you can see that we came in at $1,525,000 compared to $1,912,000. Our revenue this year has been down. If you look at our budget, though, looking at budget, we have a total budget of $16,674,000. We've received 82.8% of budget, $2.8 million, and we've got 2 more months to go. So hopefully we'll be able to meet budget, our budgeted revenue. And there's some accrual work that we do that should also contribute to that. The shared sales tax from Town of Normal and City of Bloomington, those all go into Fund 007 for the month of October, which are the July receipts. Our income was actually $419,000 compared to $411,000 a year ago. Total equity in that fund is $18,618,000. That fund has some programs running through it. So that's a combination of the shared sales tax income as well as the programs. The property tax revenue, the county board adopted a budget of $46,125,000. Through the end of October, we distributed $44,494,000. Our tax sale was just last week, so we'll be making our final distribution to all districts, including the county, here during the month of November. So during the month of December, I'll be able to actually show you where the property tax revenue came in for the year. Motor fuel tax revenue, you can see for the month of October there, we had on regular CMFT, $181,000, $183,000 from the renewal fund, regular TMFT, $150,000, and from the renewal fund, $151,856. So total revenue, $3.4 million and $2.8 million here in 2024. Moving on, the investment report. We did have, during the month of November, did a little investing. We see rates going down about 1/4, and that is just the result of how the Fed has moved their rates. The Illinois funds rate at the end of the month of October was at 4.95, and that's a really good rate. That's where we're parking the majority of our funds that we don't have set aside in different accounts for operating purposes. And then our treasuries, we were still getting some treasuries around between 4 and 5%. If we go out any longer than 6 months right now, they're starting to trickle down. So just watching that. The next report I have for you is the nursing home report. And for the month of September, on the primary sources of revenue for the nursing home, their Medicaid, private pay, and Medicare. The nursing home had revenue of $926,000. Their year-to-date accrued revenue, $8,645,000. Expenses and transfers, $8,487,000. So at the end of September, they were trending about $158,000 to the plus. The receivable at the end of September, $4,949,000. Cash, negative $1,632,000. And fund equity, $1,321,000. And then moving on to the county's Blue Cross Blue Shield self-insurance plan. For the month of October, our expenses were actually quite a bit above where they were of October of 2023. In total, we have $6,197,000 in expenses on our plan this year, and that is $759,384 ahead of where we were a year ago. So, still benefit from the stop loss. We've had stop loss adjustments of $1,244,000. And we've only paid out $466,000 for that. So it's important to have that provision in place.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you. 4C, 1C, accept and place on file the county treasurer's monthly financial report. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Financial report is accepted. 4C2, any other information, Ms. McNeil?
No, thank you.
Okay. We'll flip the page. 4D, we have Marshall Thompson. She's here with Animal Control. She brings no action items, but I'll turn the floor over to you for your report of any kind. Thank you.
Good evening, and I hope everyone's having a good evening as well. Wanted to showcase our beautiful pictures here, taken by our volunteer Heather. She's doing a fantastic job keeping us every week updated on the new progress of the facility. They're certainly fun to watch. Animal Control continues to do a great job caring for the animals that we have at the facility, and I just personally want to say I appreciate all their hard work and dedication, and without them, the program would just be so much different. So I'm so thankful for all they do for Clay County. So year to date, 203 cats and 132 dogs have been transferred into other programs for adoption, in addition to the private adoptions of 41 dogs and 124 cats. In a total, that's 500 pets that have been adopted or transferred year to date. So thank you all to the community partners who have dedicated so much time and effort to help the animals of McLean County. It really does take a group effort to maximize these invaluable resources, and I personally appreciate it, and I'm just enjoying watching the progress as more animals get adopted into forever homes. During the month of October 2024, the following community partners transferred adoptable animals into their programs. So again, thank you to DB Senior Chihuahua Rescue, Humane Society of Central Illinois, Pet Central Helps, Ruby's Rescue, and Wishbone Canine Rescue. Wanted to showcase each one by month as I can so that I can give credit where they're helping the program get more animals into forever homes. For the rabies prevention program, MCAC facilitated 274 rabies inoculations, January through October. So yay, rabies prevention. MCAC also submitted for rabies testing 52 bats, 6 dogs, 1 raccoon, 1 cat, and 2 skunks, helping protect the community against rabies. We also monitored during this time 482 bite and rabies investigations. Wanted to give a lot of credit to the hardworking staff at McLean County Health Department Communicable Disease and our lead animal control warden, Brad Keyran, for triaging all of those activities during our peak time of the year, and again, protecting the community and keeping everyone safe for potential exposure to rabies. The breakdown of our bites by species is 182 bats, 73 cats, 224 dogs, 2 snakes, 1 squirrel. Although snakes are reptiles and don't contract rabies, they still get reported sometimes to us, and we just keep that data for information purposes. Again, just a little housekeeping, reminding everyone, this is a great time of year to keep your pets vaccinated for rabies and registered. Make sure that your houses and all of your outside areas are wildlife prevention secure, so that we don't have indigenous wildlife getting in our spaces that we share. And then we're winding down on bat activities, so we're happy to report that is finally slowing down. And you can pay your rabies registration online. And we always encourage people to spay and neuter your pets. Animal Control helped facilitate those spay neuters for 137 cats, 61 dogs, in addition to facilitating 289 microchips and 274 rabies vaccines. Lots to share, so there's some fun pictures there about all of our best friends that are sometimes not people. They like to play with each other and give us a lot of insight to their personality. And we have barn cats available and house cats for adoption. And then lastly, I'd like to showcase thanking one of our new partners, Pet Supply Plus in Normal, has invited us to start coming out on Saturdays and doing more adoption events on site there in conjunction with Humane Society of Central Illinois. So not quite sure where that's going to go, but I'm excited to see the partnerships there that are building. And as always, thank you to Tractor Supply for letting us come to their Hometown Heroes First Responders event, where we got to take animals and meet and greet with the community and thank our hometown heroes for the hard work they do in keeping us safe in McLean County. So thank you very much for the support of the board, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions? How's the building coming? I know that's not your, technically administration, but it's, yeah.
I think it's going really well, and administration has done a fantastic job in, staying on top of things and keeping things together, and, we've been able to communicate really well back and forth. So Cassie and Tony, I really do appreciate all their hard work. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like when it gets done. It's almost within grasp. So it's
Are we
doing
on
really well.
timeline on that?
Yeah.
With the great fall weather, I see it progressing quickly.
I have a fun picture I can't wait to share for the next packet, where the trees are all in full color and you can see the building and the walls and stuff, so
Yes.
it'll be fun.
It's
I'll put
exciting.
that on Facebook for the county's page, to showcase the beautiful scenic view there.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Marshall Thompson. On to the next item, item 4E, Michelle Anderson brings no action items. Do we have anything from her okay, nothing. We'll move on to 4F, Cassie Taylor, County Administrator, brings several items. Those would be 4F1A, request approval of fiscal year 2025 compensation plan, and I'd entertain a motion. Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, seconded by Roseman Mendoza. The floor is yours, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The compensation plan for 2025 is in your packet starting on page 45. This is an annual plan that we put together for the state as a requirement for AOIC and those departments that get reimbursement from the state for our staff. It follows along with the budget recommendations that were approved in committee.
Any questions? Item 4F1A, request approval of the fiscal year 2025 compensation plan. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. That is passed. The next item is 4F1B, request approval of fiscal year 2025 recommended budget for IMRF Fund 0131. I'd entertain a motion. Motion by Rogal, seconded by Vice Chair Lehman. Floor is again yours, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. So as is standard through our budgeting process, action item B and C come after we have made the determination from the committees of the salary budget and the number of staff that we will have in our annual budget. And so we bring to you this IMRF, which is the retirement, Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund for staff.
Any questions? Comments? 4F1B, request approval of fiscal year 2025 recommended budget for IMRF Fund 0131. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. That action item is passed. Our next item is 4F1C, request approval of fiscal year 2025 recommended budget for Social Security Expense Fund 0131, and I would entertain a motion. Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, seconded by Roseman Mendoza. The floor is again yours, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Chair Friedrich. So as I mentioned earlier, this is for the FICA fund for that same budget needs for employee salaries.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none. 4F1C, request approval for fiscal year 2025 recommended budget for Social Security Expense Fund 0131. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. That action item has passed. Excuse me. 4F1D, request approval of statements of work with outside auditor for auditing service and assertion-based exam services. I'd entertain a motion to put that on the floor. Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, seconded by Roseman Mendoza. The floor is again yours, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. This is a request to engage once more with CLA for our outside auditing services. CLA is in the second year of a 5-year agreement with us. This letter that is included in your packet outlines the scope of work that they will be completing for us, similar to last year.
Any questions or comments? Item 4F1D, request approval of statements of work with outside auditor for audit service and assertion-based exam services. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. That action item is passed. Thank you. Last action item. 4F1E, request authorization to approve litigation settlement, which have been distributed. We need to go into closed session, and I would,
So we'll put it on the floor first, just with a
Okay.
regular motion, and then go
Okay.
into closed.
all those in favor?
Oh, get a regular
Yep.
motion first.
Right. Request authorization of a resolution to approve litigation settlement. Is there a motion? Motion by Roseman Mendoza, seconded by Vice Chair Lehman. So we will go into closed session.
So now you'll just ask if there's a request to go into closed session or if they're ready to vote.
Is there a request to go into closed session? Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second by Member Rogal. We will go into closed session.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we'll clear the room. Good night.
Okay, Finance Committee is back in open session. We have an last action item 4F1D, request authorization of a resolution approving litigation agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That action item is passed. On to 4F1, or 4F2. Any other information for committee? Ms. Taylor?
Yeah, I just have one item to present as information, and that will be the need for a stand-up for this committee, for the Finance Committee, following an action item by property on Thursday night. They will be entertaining a action item to adjust a salary for facilities management, and after that is approved through property, then it will be recommended to Finance for approval. So we'll probably have just a little bit longer session, maybe back in 4:04.
Okay, any questions? On to item 5, other business and communication. Are there any? Hearing none. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.